the outcome of your life, the destiny of your life, the trajectory of your life is all determined by your desire. But without a sincere and fervent desire for whatever outcome it is that you wish to attain, you cannot accomplish. You don't have enough meat to accomplish the thing that you're trying to accomplish. Like your dream doesn't have weight unless it has desire. And so, as we talk, and as I spoke last time about this notion of the modern woman, right? This is something that, moving into the future, men will have to deal with, the quote unquote modern woman. And when we talk about that, of course, we're talking about the modern Western woman, the post-feminism movement woman. It's interesting because many men are still traditional minded. They want to be traditional men, meaning what? They want to, of course, provide for their family. And so for these guys who want to be traditional, you know, their roles haven't changed much, right? They want to be able to provide for their household. They want to be able to lead their household, and they want to be able to, do typical masculine, manly things. Go to the gym, work on cars, work on the house, cut the grass, like, lead your family, right? Whatever that may be, taking them to church, etc. And providing for your family as well too. Obviously, it goes without being said that that involves monetary provision. I've said that once before, I'll say it again. But we know that provision is actually much deeper than just monetary provision. Leading is not all about the money that's in your pocketbook. And I think a lot of people, a lot of women misconstrue that, right? They think that leading, and it's actually more dangerous for women who have this notion of, well, him being able, the qualifier for me following his leadership is based on his ability to lead with his pocketbook, is actually more dangerous for women, because it will actually create an environment where you will have men who will say, well, I don't need to be a solid man or follow certain values or principles. No, I just need to have a certain amount of money in the bank. I just need to be able to take this girl to a certain event at a certain time, and I can just basically lure her in using that as my go-to or as my leverage, as opposed to having a real program that you follow, having like an actual system that you're plugged into that you then implement into your house, right? So, for example, if you are a Christian man, that system is the hierarchy, or the system that works within the church that you're a part of, right? The politics, if you will, of the church that you're a member of. And for other people, it's different things. For most men, it is the politics of the country wherein we reside, right? Which in this case is America. But obviously, those things vary depending on the man, right? Your upbringing, all these things determine your value. And so those are the things that I believe a wise man leads with. You lead with your values, not your dollars, okay? And then you find a woman who is willing to be led under that leadership, okay? But nonetheless, I want to spend a few minutes getting into this topic of discussion, right? I for one, I'm someone who loves to, listen, so to speak, to women. In this case, listen to Black women, right? Um, for a number of reasons, man. Like, I love to hear what sisters really think. Like, I love to not just hear it, but feel what they talking about. Like, feel it, because I feel like sometimes people say things but don't necessarily mean what they saying. Like, or the meaning of what they saying is actually deeper than the words that's coming out of their mouth. And in order to ascertain all of that, you have to actually listen, right? And so it's important, right, to understand. So I'm going to share my screen here with you guys, and I'm going to share with y'all an episode of Listen to Black Women, okay? Now, again, I haven't really watched too much of this podcast, but I think the title speaks for itself, and I think it's worth our time to listen to these women, particularly as it relates to the modern woman, all right? Let's get it.
So, with modern woman, right, we are protecting ourselves, because now it's coming to the situation where we're blamed for things. Even when we jump behind and help and try to save somebody, we're the issue there. So is that the modern day woman?
No, the modern
Man, notice what she said. She said, we're protecting ourselves because of X, Y, and Z. Isn't this something? I think this is a testimony to our communities, right? Where our women feel like they need to be the ones to protect themselves, where they feel like they need to be the ones doing everything. They feel like they need to do all of the heavy lifting and doing all of these things by themselves. That's what it meant to her to be a modern woman. This is a problem. I'm saying that the fact that a woman is going through this is not necessarily in itself a problem, but it can become a problem when a woman becomes so independent that she have to do all these things on her own, because it's going to put her in a very defensive position quite naturally as a woman, which is why in a lot of cultures, women stay under the protection or the provision, so to speak, of their parents. They're connected to their family closely until they get married, right? In a lot of cultures, in most cultures where marriage is the norm. But we see that in Western society that's kind of become outdated, has it not? And in some instances, and I think in the instance of this woman, it seemed as though circumstances in her life did not allow her to have that type of lifestyle. And I think that's true for a lot of women. So they therefore didn't feel the need to step into these shoes that make her the modern woman. It's food for thought. By we as men playing our natural role in a family or in a household or in a community, we create a situation where our women feel comfortable under our headship and under our leadership. And therefore, this need to protect yourself gets minimized, because now they know they can what? They can rely on the protection of their older brother. They can rely on the protection of their older cousin, their uncle, their father. Let's continue. It's important.
Modern day women, it's just we've gotten to such a privilege of being able to shift the narrative of what womanhood looks like. Like my mom married to get out of her house, and her mom did the same thing.
Right.
Is this not what I just described? This is exactly what I just described. And I want to go back and touch on something that she talked about. She said that women are redefining what womanhood is. And I'm not going to argue with her. That's her opinion. I'm just going to let that sink in. Let that sink in. She's going to tell you what she means by that. All right, here we go.
And I couldn't imagine that for myself. You know, I'm 39 years old now, and I would like to be married and get in a committed relationship and all of that, but I don't want to do so just to like escape or welcome in this next part of my life that I think this person is going to usher me into. I don't want.
She paints this picture as if her mother and her grandmother just got married to get out of the house, that some societal pressure that was negative made them feel like they needed to get married to get out of the house, not on the basis of, hey, the man that they married was actually good for them. The man that they married was there to basically, build a life and a lifestyle and a future with these women right? She paints the picture in kind of a negative way. And then it's like, well, I would never do this because I will. Like, okay, at that time, what did marriage represent? At that time, what was culture? In our modern world, we don't have that mentality, because the pressure, or not the pressure, but the idea of today's modern world is you can be a hoe. You're sexually liberated. Let me put that in a different way. You are sexually liberated. You can, without shame, date Tom, Dick, Harry within a 4-month time period. Matter of fact, you can date them all at the same damn time. And there's no shame, and women are encouraged by other women to do that. Now, back in the day, it wasn't such. A woman who was known to be like that would gain a reputation within the community. Therefore, there was more shame. And that shame was a part, not the primary reason, but it was a part of the reason why a lot of women really they would get married when they got out of the house. You couldn't just go out here and deal with people. And also in a community, they didn't allow all these secrets, these secret lives. People out here living 3, 4, 5 secret lives. And in a community, if you got to keep something a secret, it's probably not that good. It's not something that you're proud of. Because these women clearly are dealing with pride. You're on a talk show talking about what a modern woman is. So there's some kind of pride there, right? And she's talking about it. And I'm not saying that this type of pride is necessarily a bad thing. I'm saying people talk about the things that they're proud of. And people have reason to be proud of, right? You're more inclined to talk about these things. So again, if you don't want to talk about a certain thing, it's because you're not proud of it. It's something that's like, you're not happy about that. You see what I'm saying? So there's something that's food for thought.
This person is going to usher me into. I don't want to be nobody's Coretta. Like, I'm having a great time being Oprah. Whoopi. I like all the people that don't want nobody up in their house.
What about when you want to sugar?
There you go. She said she fine being a woman who don't have nobody all up in their house. So family, as you listen to this, you got to ask yourself, does this sound like the voice of a wife? Does this sound like the voice of a woman who really wants to be a wife? Or, because men, again, I'm reading through what she's saying. I'm not just listening. I'm hearing through what you're saying. And what I hear coming out of her mouth is not what she's saying exactly. What I'm hearing is like you've been through some things in your life that make you feel a certain type of way about this thing that we call marriage. And when I say feel some type of way, I mean negative. There's a negative energy associated with, in your mind, with the thought of marriage. So instead, you go over here in this place where you feel safe, where you're this independent modern woman, where you've redefined what this is. But you need to, and that's okay for that young woman who has the mentality of what I just described, right? You've gone through this, you've been hurt, you've been damaged, you've been let down. So that space is safe for that. But if you ever want to get on this path of marriage, then you must, why I started the video by talking about, you must get your mind right first. Your mind have to be positive as it relates to the thing that you want. And that's not the case with her. So yeah, single woman, independent woman, great for you. But to us men, the men who want to be husbands, we're looking at that mentality as a potential blocker in a relationship. Because no sooner than things don't go perfect, you're going to resort back to that person that you are right now. In other words, a man have to come into a relationship. Let's say that Mr. Right meets her tomorrow and he's coming into this relationship. He have to convince her of all of these things. Mind you, this is a group of Black women. So most of the mentalities that they have are the mentalities that they've developed around other Black people, meaning when they meet a Black man, that is the mentality that they're going to bring into the relationship. So Mr. Right Black man have to come in and change her mentality from where she's currently at to where she need to be to have a happy, healthy relationship with him. And my opinion of that is, that's a little ridiculous. There ain't that much time in a day. A man, that's not his responsibility. And as I said, it's actually a danger for him because no soon as things don't go ideal, she's gonna go right back to that space that she's created in her mind that is safe, which is that independent, I don't need a man, I don't want you in my house woman. This ain't got nothing to do with shaming. This ain't got nothing to do with nothing other than the real.
I really do. It's a
We talked about this, and I told
drain.
you
It's a drain.
why is what is your reasoning behind that?
I mean, I know that there's a lot of negativity around that, but I would love to be taken care of and not be any of my money. I don't want the control part. If I could cater it.
Wait.
My money. I don't want the control. There's a lot of negativity around that, but I would love to be taken care of and not be any of my money. I don't want the control.
She said she would like to be taken care of and what? And not spend, I think she meant to say, any of her money. I don't want the control part. Let's let them talk.
Part. If I could cater it.
When you're leading with the money, it's because you want to be able to control the person. Yeah. So you use the money to kind of keep them in a certain way.
Yeah, but even the broke ones, they want.
They do.
Yeah, they
which is why the modern woman is out here kicking doors down.
We're gonna let them continue, but here we go again. See, I notice a lot of times that women will have very deep conversations in a very shallow way. Certain conversations are not meant to just touch on the surface. Oh, next topic. You gotta if you really want to understand, you gotta peel, as I say, peel the onion back to get to the layers behind this thing. As I said earlier, a man is gonna be a man no matter what. It's in his nature to be a man. So even if he don't have a lot of money, it doesn't mean he's not gonna want to lead you, right? And how can you lead that which you cannot control? See, some people will say that control is a negative, it always comes with a negative context. And it can be negative if it is, if a person is being controlled by the wrong person, because the wrong leadership is going to lead you down the wrong path. Correct leadership is going to control the situation, it's going to control not necessarily you, but they're going to control the parameters of what you're exposed to. So it's kind of like indirectly controlling you, but in a loving way, in a way that makes sense, in a way that works for the goal of the group, the goal of the relationship, right? So, for example, if the goal of a man dating a woman is marriage and he want to build a lifelong legacy with this woman, right? Obviously, if he senses danger, which could be a person, right? An outside influence, it could be some content, right? Some form of entertainment. And he determined that that's not right for his family. And he communicates that concern to his woman and says, you know what, baby, look, you know, your friend so-and-so, I really think, or you're the person, this associate that you talked to me about, you know, the stories you've told me about her, they really seem off. You know, you told me already her past is X, Y, and Z, and she's currently into X, Y, Z. Baby, I think, and I'm seeing how this is influencing you. Babe, you need to stay away from this. I think you need to cut that relationship off because I think it's having a negative impact on you. And I'm afraid that it's going to negatively impact us. And I want us to move forward, right? In a good way, right? Boom. Or it could be that, it could be a multitude of things. So is that control? Well, in a sense it is, but in a sense it's not. Why? Because you're still giving her the choice, but you're influencing her. So the influence is a level of control. And I think that a man, that leadership requires that. Leadership requires influence. And that influence is supposed to dictate the decisions that that woman makes. So in a sense, a woman is supposed to be controlled. A wife should be controlled. Women talk about it all the time. They want a man who can take control. But in certain contexts, they'll speak about it in a negative way. And in other contexts, they'll speak about it in a positive way. So it's all based, again, on how she feels in that situation, circumstantial based on the situation. But it's a sword that men yield. And it's a sword that men must yield the righteous way. The best thing a woman can do is encourage that man to yield that sword in a righteous way. Encourage him by your actions and the presence that you have in his life to be a good leader. You hear me? Let's continue.
No, but a real man is going to.
Whoop. A real man. Whenever y'all hear a woman say that, boy. It can be good or bad, but I'm saying most of the time, it's usually followed by some high-level manipulation that's designed for a man to give a woman whatever it is that she quote-unquote want. It's used as leverage to make a man feel like he's doing something wrong and not doing what she wants you to do based on what she just feels like. Somebody talk to me. Let's let her finish though. Let me just hear her out, see what she's talking about.
To provide and not have to look at it as, well, I'm providing.
Let's go back.
Is going to provide and not have to look at it as, well, I'm providing for you so I can control you.
Eventually it all will, do you have to be out this late? Is it, why are you coming in this late?
That might be respect.
Because it's my job.
Oh, wait a minute. She said, oh, that might be respect. So she's a tricky one, ain't she? She's a little salt and pepper, a little hot and cold. You know what I'm saying? She's dealing with highs and lows. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I tell men, and this is why I'm so entertained by this, because what this shows me is that a leader of women have to have tact, have to have charisma. You got to have something. You got to have some wisdom to lead the modern woman. Again, I've talked about the modern woman both positive and in a negative light, because there's both of those things exist in that framework of the modern woman. But at the end of the day, I don't care about the negative. We working through that, because at the end of the day, a winner is going to win. So this is what my channel is all about: empowering y'all to win through. This is the whole point. Through the hardship, through the things that are like a little bit less than ideal or you wish you didn't have to deal with. Not saying that you have to deal with it. I'm just saying, if you think time's gonna be perfect every time, if you think she's gonna just be perfectly submissive to everything that you say, then man, hey, I wish that for you. But the reality is that most men not gonna be encountering that there. So you're gonna have to have some tact, you're gonna have to have some skill to be able to lead as a man. But I'm gonna let this sister right here finish what she's saying as well.
Are you coming in this late?
That might be respect.
Because it's my job. I'm a comedian. I have to be at nightclubs till probably
Yep.
2:30 in the morning. And it started off not controlling, but then it turned into that, just throwing little hints here or doing it in a subtle way to try to make me say, oh, well, maybe I don't need to be out 5 nights a week when I know that's where I need to be.
Yeah.
Well, we also know that you don't have a ring on your hand, do you? So what that means is that choice, and this is again, life is all about choices, right? If she wants to do that, and cool, you can do that. But when your man who is supposed to be leading you has identified something that he sees as a threat to your relationship, and you rebel against that man's leadership, you undercut it, you call it him controlling you. You basically disqualifying yourself from being that man's wife. He's doing what he's supposed to do as a man. Because mind you, this woman said a few moments ago that men are supposed to provide. But women think of provision only in the context of money. Okay? Provision is headship, is leadership, which means that you're supposed to be someone who can be led. So when that man has and expresses that concern, baby, man, this is the 5th night this week you done came in at 2:30 in the morning. I mean, I know you're saying, and I'm just talking. I know you're saying that, you get out of the nightclubs at 2:30 in the morning, but man, babe, you know what? I can't help it. I feel some kind of way about that because it's 2:30 a.m. I really wish you was here at 10 o'clock at night because I really want to, you know what I'm saying, be with you and go to sleep together, as an actual couple. You coming in at 2:30 is bothering me. It's bothering me. And I'll be lying if I didn't say it was, right? Okay, boom. He's honest with you. Now they describe that as him trying to control her, or in her mind, she like, oh, you trying to tell me what to do? Who are you trying to tell me what to? You ain't the right one for me. Like that's what most men are going to actually encounter when they express the concern, which is why I said, hence, there is no ring on her hand. That's not what she wants. Her choice was to be an independent modern woman instead of being a wife. That's the difference, family. Because let's get something understood, and I talked about it in my last video. Ladies, you cannot have it both ways. I'm going to be honest with you. You cannot expect a man to play his traditional role while you decide to continue to be a modern woman. That's like an Amtrak and a damn Greyhound on a head collision with one another, okay? If your expectation is that he's going to be a traditional man, then you also, honey boo, must be a traditional woman. And that includes in the dating phase. Let's continue.
Well, how about if it flips? We all have a couple dollars up here, right? Modern woman. Is the modern woman willing to be the controlling one and take care of the man and let him?
Whoa! Now you see how she said controlling with a smile? So this is the thing that concerns me about when I hear these, and everybody's face is lit up now. Oh, yes, I get control. Yes, yes. Right? Now you get to see this is when, and this is what scares me about, I'm not gonna lie, this is what scares me about sisters. When you really see what's underneath the dysfunction, when you see the joy that women sometimes show over things that are clearly wrong, things that are clearly a danger. This got danger written all over it. This have loss all over it. This have the bad outcome written all over it. But they light up with joy when you talk about it. Oh, it makes me sick. It makes me sick because I have to ask myself at this point, like, are y'all good people or not? Are you a good person or not? Because we're gonna keep it real. Some people are just evil to their heart. Even the Bible talk about a person's heart can be evil, that the heart is wicked. See, this is why the Lord say what? The Lord say, above all else, protect your heart, for out of it are the desires, the source of life. Careful.
And be a stay-at-home dad.
It's not for me because the ship has sailed on children for me. Like that's just not going to happen, you know? So for me,
Don't say what ain't gonna happen unless you done did something weird surgically. Okay, don't say what ain't gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know. But let's continue.
a man in my life is somebody who is like, will be a really great addition to what I've already set up for myself. Like I'm now a homeowner. I have a really great job.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it's just like the guy that would be perfect in my life would be somebody who wants to be a witness to my life and I'm a witness to theirs. We're the rich auntie.
Gotcha. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't think women really realize that, like, I don't know how to say this. Like, I'm trying to, because I'm like I'm really from the streets. So it's like sometimes I hear women say certain things. I'm like, damn, like you sound like what you really looking for is like kind of like damn near like a pimp, to be honest. Because or a man who got multiple women. Because it's in a man's nature, right? To lead and to be the leader, the head of everything that's going on. So if you talking about a man in the context of him coming in and joining what you got going on, you describing it damn near like he gonna be your wife. You don't understand how the game works. The game is about to get flipped on your whole head. I don't even want to get into it. Let's continue.
Uncle. Yeah. That's me.
So you never
Yeah.
thought about kids, marriage, and
No.
I've always thought about kids and marriage, and now it's totally flipped. I am at a point where I do not want kids. However, I'm also open if the partner situation comes in and there's kids involved or what. I am open to that, but I feel like I'm having to like keep remaking that piece in order to not make myself feel like I'm mourning some life that I didn't get, that I thought I always wanted. And
It's also making peace with the decisions that you feel like you were always supposed to want, but you never really actually wanted them. If I wanted something to happen, I would have made it happen.
Right.
Children
True.
didn't happen. And it's probably because I never really saw myself as, being a mom. Like it.
All I'm saying is be honest, tell the truth, right? But again, listen, I don't want to get into it because it's kind of a difficult conversation. But at the same time, I would say this: a lot of women who don't have kids are sitting there talking about, oh, well, it wasn't in the cards for me. No, the truth is that you aborted those children, or you aborted that kid, or something happened. Right? Tell the whole truth. Don't say like, oh, well, I kind of wanted it, but it wasn't really for me. I didn't really want it. No. And they talking about making peace with what they once wanted. That's why she said the ship has sailed. And she said that. What does that mean, family? Somewhere inside her was a woman who wanted to have kids. But due to the circumstances of her life, she didn't become a mother. Now, ask yourself, do that make sense? This is a woman who looks good, okay? She's probably been in multiple relationships with multiple men. Now, unless she got some health issue, now again, okay, that's a whole different conversation. But I'm saying that health issues is not the reason why a lot of these women don't have kids, family. Don't keep it real.
It wasn't in the cards,
Yeah.
and I've been secretly okay with it, but I felt ashamed to actually admit that,
Why? Because other women made you feel that, or society?
Society. It's a societal pressure to make you feel like if this is not being used, your uterus is not in use, then what use are you as a.
I really believe that women do better in life when they try to become harmonious with nature, because it's not societal pressure that's making you feel that way. Don't say, oh, society. You're a woman. There's only male and female in this world. And women have a uterus. Women are the only gender that can bring forth life. This is nature. This has nothing to do with societal pressure. This is the way that all human beings, even in the animal kingdom, this is how life comes. So it's not society. And the fact that they're trying to put this on society tells me that you're in rebellion of the natural order. And you're trying to blame that rebellion on society. Maybe someone harmed you or hurt you, or you've gone through some trauma. And guess what? As Black folks, most of us have gone through some kind of trauma. But don't rebel against the natural order of things just because you done gone through some trauma. You still got to find peace in the nature of life and in the order that the Most High God have set forth. And I think that's why I say I think a woman who can really, and again, man, to find peace in the natural order requires devotion to the originator of that order. It requires submission to the will of he who designed the order. That is how you stay in the path of peace and in the path of favor in that order. When one rebels against that natural order, you only will find, or you try to find peace in other things, such as the world, such as the standards of society, or in this case, in groups of other people who think like you. Because no matter what you believe, there's a group for you. A person can be the most wickedest person on the planet Earth. I'm not saying these women are. I'm saying you could be an evil person and you could find a community of people who will agree with you and tell you that you're right. So at the end of the day, who are you going to submit to? Who are you going to listen to? Right? Because not everything you think, just because you think it, is necessarily right. Sometimes you might need guidance or correction. And who is a better guide or corrector or disciplinary than the originator of nature, of life itself? Let's continue.
As a woman, you know what I mean?
They make men too, because, a guy that I've been seeing, he doesn't have any kids. And the first thing that people are all, and I was guilty of it too. I was just like, you ain't got no kids. But I caught myself and I was like, no, Tori, don't think like that. Just maybe he just hadn't found that person.
It's a little bit more forgiving for them. Like they could get away with being like the George Clooney, like Bachelor for Life kind of thing. Right. It just is. For women, it's just like, what's wrong with you?
I've met someone recently and, he's in his 40s and he doesn't have children. I'm like, I had a slight moment where I was like, okay, you sure you got no kids? Like, you sure you got no kids in Haiti somewhere? Like, but also I was like, maybe God just saved this one for me. Like, maybe that was my little treasure to find.
Here's the funny thing. So I didn't see myself having kids until I was 35. I had kids 9 years earlier than 35. And so, in my mind, I was like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to have a career. I couldn't navigate and do as much as I wanted to do. So, now that my kids are older, I feel like I'm a little late to the party.
I'm confused right now. I'm not trying to cut this off, but, I'm a human being. I have a set of eyeballs, homie. Lady, why are your panties showing? Like, this is a woman, right? And again, I was raised by very classy Black women. And you know what? I love Black women. Let me tell you something. I'm not saying her panties showing makes her a bad woman. She's still a beautiful woman. I'm just saying, if you are a young woman and you're watching this woman sit up here and do what she's doing and gesture and the mannerisms that she's taking on, at some point you got to ask yourself, like, is she her own problem? Or is she a good representation of what a woman is supposed to look like? And it should show based on how she carries herself. It's very simple. Visually, because how you appear to the world you're going on a national podcast, something that's going to be aired to hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people. You know this. And this is what you do. I'm just saying, it seemed a little like, hey, sus.
So, now that my kids are older, I feel like I'm a little late to the party. But I'm starting to remove that out of my head because I'm like, no, Tori, now is the time.
No, let's not skip over that. She said now that her kids are older, so now she's talking about future kids. She's talking about a man that she's met, but she's got kids. So these women will talk about all of these things, but let's make something abundantly clear. The Black community has 100% normalized single parenthood. And I'm not trying to say all of the Black community, but I'm just saying at what point do people become accountable for the decisions that they make and understand that sometimes, and let's just not say sometimes, I'm gonna say majority of the time, you're in the situation you are in because of the decisions that you've made in your past. This is part of the reason why it becomes a little bit disingenuous to have a bunch of late 30, 40-year-old women trying to look like young women discussing these things, leading like basically with a platform that's designed to be marketed to young women, right? But they kind of pass their time. They're supposed to have different information for these women, but I don't see no rings on none of these women's hands. So what are you really teaching these? What are they being taught? I'm just saying. Let's continue.
You know, your kids are older.
I was gonna say you are the party.
Yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank y'all so much for opening up. And
you know, I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not here trying to judge these women. Hey, like I said, hey, at the end of the day, 5 beautiful Black women on the panel, and salutes to them, the Black Women Podcast. I'm gonna be listening to certain episodes, man, because you know, like I said, God gave us all 2 ears. You know what I'm saying? Hey, for us to listen, 1 mouth, 2 ears, right? We're supposed to be taking in information. And I love taking in information specifically and particularly because, or from Black women, because you know what? Like I said, number 1, I care. You know what I'm saying? I think number 2, you should care. You should know and try to understand. This is the most important thing I believe, is that you understand how your woman works, how women work, how their minds work. And understand that no one is perfect. I'm not perfect. No man is perfect. No one is perfect. You know what I'm saying? Everybody gonna come, everybody gonna have something, right? But it's not about being stuck or allowing that something to block you, right? It's about you having the tools to move through what's stopping you, to eliminate these problems that are preventing you from getting the outcome that you want. And the only way you can do that is by what? Rewinding the tape and listening to what's being said, listening to yourself, understanding where you went right, where you went wrong, and then correcting that to the best of your ability. Don't become like an old dog. As they say, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Don't become like that. Don't get stuck in your ways, unless, of course, your ways are working. Hey, fam. Thank you all again for tuning in with me. If you made it this far in the video, give yourself a round of applause, dig, and show me some love, man. Hit that like button. Of course, subscribe to this channel if you have not already yet done so. All right. Till we chat again, I'm about it.